It feels like there's been this big effort by Electronic Arts to try and suck less. They've actually been making a bunch of games that seem like they have some real spirit and soul and passion in them. And that's why today we're talking about Wild Hearts. This is an Electronic Arts game that's basically an EA version of Monster Hunter. Now, as a mega fan of Monster Hunter and a person who even plays a lot of Monster Hunter knockoffs like Tokiden Kiwami, I was incredibly curious about this project. Anything that has big bosses, great crafting systems, and beautiful graphics, I'm probably going to check it out. But let's talk about what this game is and what about it definitely just blows. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, first and foremost, let me try and explain what Wild Hearts is, because it does seem like part of the internet is a little bit confused as to what we're even really looking at. On the surface, it definitely just appears that Wild Hearts is straight up Monster Hunter. It's just a lot of smashing off bits of teeth and bone to try and craft new weapons, but there is some very important fundamental differences that make this feel very unique. Now, the biggest thing is that Wild Hearts is one massive combined world. It's these interesting lands called Azuma. Now, in this place, there are these mysterious big magical beasties that are called the Kemono. Now, these dudes are incredibly dangerous because they're like individual bosses, but they have different elemental types, and they're constantly just wandering across the zones. So you may encounter a big frost wolf or a magma dog that can actually spit out stuff that's going to poison you or burn stuff. At one point, I encountered what was like a 90-ton squirrel that could make tree roots burst out of the ground. But what's fun about this is definitely the fact that the major difference between Monster Hunter and this is when you're playing Monster Hunter, typically you just select a destination. When you're playing those games, it just basically makes it where you particularly pick a target and it just teleports you to a swamp or a desert or a really cool snowy region. Whereas here, you actually have to travel to your targets, discover them in these jungles, and then try and take them down either solo or co-op. Now, today they released a 10-hour demo for the game itself. I've been playing it pretty much nonstop, and the biggest thing that just immediately blew my mind is this effort to make a big combined world. The fact that when you're going around, you choose where camps are going to be. You actually make the different fast travel points. And then throughout this game, there is a very, very strange system that's called Karakuri. Now, basically what this means is that during the course of trying to hunt these Kemono, most people cannot survive even 30 seconds in a fight against these dudes. Instead, us, as the hunters, we're the only magically imbued people that can go toe-to-toe with these mammoth myrmidons. But in order to do that, you channel your inner constructing spirit, the Karakuri. Now, what that really means on paper is that you can do Fortnite-style crafting. Okay, I'm being a little bit silly, but yes, in this game, you can actually instantly summon stuff. While you're exploring the lands, you can draw in the different energies of the earth, and by doing things like tapping a rock or meditating next to a tree, you build up your own spirit energy, which can be used to make stacks of boxes, zip lines, or even just straight up campfires and tents, and of course, even random stuff like little tiny Sonic the Hedgehog style jump pads that let you spring forward. Now, this is definitely going to be the most complicated and controversial aspect of the game itself. It's going to be divisive. Some people are going to love the idea of building a battlefield in the middle of a fight, but I do feel like a lot of people are going to hate this because it's not really optional. This seems like a cool mechanic, but a lot of times when you're battling these guys, they will do a big unblockable super attack and charge at you. So you have to form a physical wall in order to slow them down or to stun them. Now, by stacking up boxes, you can jump off the top and do a really high damage attack, which means that really, fundamentally, you have to be good at crafting, you have to be good at timing, and not just being able to hit and dodge. In a lot of ways, I do think that the actual swinging combat, when it comes to wielding my greatsword or just trying to use my fast katana, this does actually move a bit better than Monster Hunter Rise. And I do mean that as a compliment to both. I mean, I am a complete addict to Monster Hunter Rise. I play it pretty much every single day with my friends. I think that in this game, they definitely are trying to give you the maximum freedom. When you dodge roll or when you sprint out of the way of a target, when you're trying to unleash your weapon's special ability, there is a lot of very, very, very tight controls that give you complete freedom. I think it is awesome that getting a chance to dodge, getting a chance to revive one of your buddies, or getting a chance to try and flank, everything is so immediately responsive. But this does bring me to one of the major flaws I encountered during my time with this game. I do think that the enemy units are a little bit too big. Now, I do know that's kind of the gimmick of Wild Hearts is, oh my gosh, these are like 50-ton little creatures. They're going to stomp on you. The problem is that these guys being so big makes every single time they move, you have to dodge. You're pretty much trying to roll out of the way constantly. And additionally, it makes it where if you screw up and you do get hit, when you're downed, getting revived is incredibly difficult because since the enemy units are so big, a lot of times they'll just lay on top of you. Or if you're stuck in a rather tiny arena, like a little tiny valley or between a village ruins and stuff like that, you can't even get out of the way because the enemies are just so big, they fill the entire screen, they fill the entire space. It makes it where you kind of have to be so overly careful to not get smushed by these 80-ton elephants of doom. Now, this brings me to the other problem I encountered, which maybe this will get fixed at launch, but right now, the online is very, very strange. While you're exploring, you have your own interconnected world. So you'll do something like find a target or construct a search tower, which will actually give you a guiding light to the next major Kemono that you need to destroy for the story itself. But whenever you actually find it, that is when you're able to enter matchmaking. So like once you found a guy, then it says, hey, do you want to begin searching for teammates? If you've seen a monster, you can go back to camp, and from the campfire, then you can search its particular name and find a party and beat it as a team. This just feels very clunky. I wish it worked more like, I know I keep bringing it up, but I like that in Monster Hunter, you just select a quest and then it says, hey, do you want to make an open lobby? And it's that simple. Whereas here, it just feels a little bit like these extra pointless steps that don't improve the experience. I really do not understand the reason for doing everything at camp or doing that random matchmaking in the middle of a boss fight. Just doesn't quite work great. Now, in this demo, we did have 5 separate weapons. We did have quite a bit of upgrades that could be crafted, but as it currently exists, this does feel like a game that is going to have a decent amount of depth and pretty much no story, which is kind of typical for this genre. Most of these Monster Hunter style games, whether it is the mainline stuff or these little knockoffs, a lot of times the story of these games is like, oh no, this is the mystical lands of Dragon Jizz. That's pretty much what this is. You encounter some survivors, they kind of ask you to help them find villages and build towns and stuff like that, but for the most part, it is just kind of a matter of, hey, punch everybody, craft everything. And to me, that's enough for a very good time. If you're looking for a very unique style of monster hunting, I do think this is going to scratch that itch. I believe they're going to be putting it day and date. At the end of the week, it's just going to appear on Xbox Game Pass. That's how I'm going to play it. This is already on my Xbox. I'm definitely down for something that's a little bit different, a little bit more experimental, and definitely a very beautiful experience. But what do you guys think about it? Are you excited for Wild Hearts? Did you know this game existed? Well, here it is. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big ol' thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. I'm filming this video at 10 p.m. after playing this game for 10 hours straight. No regrets.